Good boy. Was it good? Good boy. Was it good? Sweet tea? Yeah. I'm not playing right now. What's going on, people? What's happening? What's happening? So you see, I posted up the little Geek Boys, like, shout some mice for the little, you know, not gang related, game related. Well, listen up a bit, boys. I knew some of y'all be going, let me go. Well, check this out. Let me help you out. You wanted to be chosen. I was selected. So bring your monkey asses on. And I know people already hit me up. You want me to erase that? You want me to block them? No. They can come in all kind of different ways. I am invited, you goofy fucks. I don't care about you being UK or this, that, and other. I already looked. The one motherfucker that was looking from UK and a few that did, y'all ain't even on there. So stop doing it. Stop being pussies. You want to come, you want to talk, and you want to explain this, that, you want to exaggerate this, that. Just come in and speak your little goofy mind. You got your name, Mark Dirk, and you sound like he's a goof. You can't even be real because you're a coward. Stay in the background thinking you're working in the shadows. Ah! You ain't working in no motherfucking shadows, bitch. We look for you goofy to see. Some motherfuckers are smart. They're like, no. It's you dumb motherfuckers that really think you've accomplished something. Like you got something to prove. You ain't proving shit. That's why I post your little goofy shit. No, I respond. Waste of time. I have no feelings about the response. It doesn't matter whether the response is real or not. Until you realize that it's all fake, like you. Then maybe you might ascertain something and actually get some wisdom about you, but we know you don't have that. Well, I wouldn't give a fuck if you was able to fly and land on the tallest pyramid somewhere else. It doesn't mean a fuck. It's not directed to my people. It's directed to you fucking losers, you little idiots, you little yellow streak motherfuckers. You motherfuckers that walk by and you're looking like a fucking rag doll and you think nobody noticed you. That's all I'm going to say on that. Like I said, don't stand there. The conversation's not there. Come on in. Conversate everywhere instead of being a little pussies. Come on in and conversate. Converse, parlay, whole court. Trip the light, fucking fantastic. Don't be the little pussy like your mama and your daddy made you. Oh, that's right. Use a test tube, babe. Oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, you're that well groomed and articulate. Well, look, there's an ancient script. A book made or written by an Anunnaki, a custodian, or an angelic one. And a lot of people want to give the CIA the last book to a certain individual, where the family had to dig up his body and show that he was knocked in the head with a mace. Matter of fact, thrown out, I forget what floor in New York. The CIA operative, murdered by the CIA operative, shadow, whoever the fuck, shadow my ass. Anyway, he didn't write that shit. Shut the fucking goof up. There's a lot of us that have some more shit than that. We don't advocate violence. We're not warlike. See, warlike motherfuckers are unofficial and frauds. And they're just dumbass sociopaths, psychotic, that, neurotic, blah, 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 blah. A few other fucking 100 words. Emotionally unstable, can't get a grip on life. They want to end to their life, but they can't do it themselves. You know, pussies. You don't challenge shit. You're not a challenge to shit. Stop believing you're a fucking challenge. You did what you did. You got what you got. Honor that shit. Don't forget, we're going to start with the ISIS papers. It's going to be quick. Frank Olson. Yeah. Everett Howard Hunt, Jr., October 9th, 1918, January 23rd, 2007, was an American intelligence officer and author from 1949 to 1970. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, why would y'all do that? Nobody's making a donation to you, goofy fucks. Was an American intelligence officer and author from 1949 to 1970. Hunt served as an officer in the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, particularly in the United States' involvement in regime change in Latin America, including the 1954 Guatemala coup d'etat. I got a good friend right in called me today from Guatemala. Yes. And the 1961 Bay of Pigs invasion, along with G. Gordon Liddy, Frank Sturgis, and others. Hunt was one of the Nixon administration plumbers, a team of operatives charged with identifying government sources of national security information leaks to outside parties. Hunt and Libby plotted the Watergate burglaries and other clandestine operations for the Nixon administration. In the ensuing Watergate scandal, Hunt was convicted of burglary, conspiracy, and wiretapping. Eventually serving 33 months in prison. After release, Hunt lived in Mexico and then Florida until his death. Obviously, from the United States Navy, United States Army, Air Forces, and OSS-CIA Presidential Special Investigation Unit. Now, in regards to that motherfucker, Frank Rudolph Emanuel Olson, July 17, 1910, November 28, 1953, was an American bacteriologist, biological warfare scientist, and an employee of the United States Army Biological Warfare Laboratories, USBWL, who worked at Camp Detrick, now Fort Detrick, in Maryland. At a meeting in rural Maryland, he was covertly dosed with LSD by his colleague Sidney Gottlieb, head of the CIA's MK-Ultra program, and 9 days later plunged to his death from the window of the Hotel Statler in New York. The U.S. government first described his death as a suicide and then as misadventure, while others alleged murder. The Rockefeller Commission report on the CIA in 1975 acknowledged their having conducted covert drug studies on fellow agents. Olson's death is one of the most mysterious outcomes of the CIA mind control project. He wrote a book. Now, his family had his ass dug up and found that he had bruises that show that he was hit with a mace. Do y'all know what a lead-filled mace is? Okay. A triple agent blew himself up at Forward Operating Base Chapman, USS military base in the coast of Afghanistan, killing 7 CIA officers. The remarkable case of the triple agent at the bombing on coast of Afghanistan. Right. Anyway, the terrifying background of the man who ran the CIA assassination union. The move was historic, says Even Wright, the 2-time National Magazine award-winning journalist who wrote Generation Kill. Yeah, we're not going to get into that. Selection of key classified CIA, State Department, and Pentagon documentation relating to the This is what reason why I'm reading this to you, motherfuckers, is because there is a war going on inside the gate. Now, is it still ongoing as conceptualized? No, you will never hear nothing about it. Why? Why would they let you hear anything about it? That time it was a little different. But now, it's deeply rooted. And everything you see going on, all the stories true, I don't know. I really don't give a fuck. But what I know is there's a bunch of goofies that like to come in and like to comment and say some dumb shit as if it's going to have some way. But because I'm talking about it means I must feel some kind of way. No. I want people to see. We need y'all and y'all to see and them to see. You're doing us a service and we appreciate it. Whether you're there or not, it doesn't matter. Because one thing I know from a good friend of mine, most of the trolls are paid. And they do what they do because it's what you do everywhere. You're on the wrong fucking soil with that bullshit is what I'm alluding to. The wrong fucking soil. The wrong earth. The wrong place. The wrong fucking time. That's all I'm going to say. Now let's get into our studies. The younger, it doesn't matter what generation, who, what, which job is. You get dumber and dumber and dumber. It doesn't matter what you see. It doesn't matter what you're being enlightened with, shown. You get dumber and dumber and dumber. Trust me. Y'all been so stuck that you're not even paying attention to what's really going on around you. Oh yeah, you know, like all these machines, and you see everything, and you know everything. Yeah, okay. That's why you have all that, because you don't know shit. That's why you want to be able to monitor. Well, we know it's to install, to have, once everything's done. That way you can really, maidens tell, pay attention to how everybody moves around you. Once you establish your fucking new world order and all this other goofy shit. Yeah, okay, whatever. All right. The origin of alienation, anxiety, and narcissism, August 1980. Let's turn this down a little more. That's for y'all that can keep coming back and you're wasting your time. Stay in the shadows. That's all you got to do. Stop being so fucking stupid. Neolithic. Dedication. This essay is dedicated to Genevieve Ekete, a Nigerian journalist who, because of the profound pain of alienation, took her life on June 25th, 1978, while residing in the United States of America. It's not United States, y'all. It's just America. The world lost a brilliant mind and a generous person shortly before her death, she stated. Because the Crown of England and that fake-ass crown don't have shit to do over here other than the problems that are magnified and the idiots who keep parlaying to be knighted and all this other goofy shit are hidden in the fucking shadows. Stated, my superstructure is solid. I need a formidable foundation. All right, shortly before her death, she stated, my superstructure is solid. I need a formidable foundation. Does that sound like somebody wants to kill himself? Anyway, this essay is my contribution to our understanding of the destructive dynamic of alienation. Psychiatry as a discipline is floundering on its previously established conceptual and theoretical foundation imported from 19th century Europe. My continuing question to myself as a late 20th century precautionary in general and child psychiatry practicing in the power capital of the world, Washington, D.C., of the world, wouldn't that allude to the Vatican and the fake crown of England, is, and can a greater understanding be achieved in the study of human behavior as it is organized and manifested in the world's dominant power system and culture? You got to recognize that once most of Tartaria was usurped and everything changed, manifested differently, Orson Welles, that the next parlay would be what? The hostile takeover within. You dig what I'm saying? And the Renaissance period. Renaissance my ass. Okay, we know that. My answer is affirmative. We can derive an ever-increasing level of order out of the existing chaos, a diagnostic and statistical manual that gets heavier and wordier with each effort. Thereby, we can enhance our diagnostic and treatment skills and increase the possibility of prevention, allowing us to serve a suffering humanity better. Humanity? What's that? Beast of the what? And have astronauts found God? Robert Jastrow states, there is a kind of religion in science. It is the religion of a person who believes there is order and harmony in the universe. And every event can be explained in a rational way as the product of some previous event. Who wants to explain, dissect, and scientifically enumerate order? Pay attention. Every effort must have its cause. What is its true cause? To enumerate what when there was no problem? Jastrow continues, taking a quotation from Albert Einstein. The scientist is possessed by the sense of universal causation. What's the cause? What's the sensation? As a social and behavioral scientist, I am convinced it is possible to understand in depth the patterns and systems of behavior encountered in the individual and in the broad collective. My further conviction is that we can serve humankind maximally as behavioral scientists and psychophysicians only when we adequately analyze the fundamental causation and logic of these patterns of behavior. I told y'all to study up on this bitch, right? Now, everybody's always saying the ISIS papers are great. Well, what I am doing here is I am literally alluding and teaching you what she was about. Changing the mindset of the norm and bringing in more chaos. FBI agents everywhere. Three major foci of attention in Western social and behavioral science, particularly in psychiatry: alienation, anxiety, and narcissism. It's as if she's studying it, alluding to the fact of knowledge and knowing of it, are not unrelated, isolated syndrome abstractions as they have been discussed by Western social and behavioral scientists. These separately described phenomena are not only interrelated, but they have a common origin and cause. They are derivatives of the same causal dynamic. Although that causal dynamic has remained unidentified, to take you away from y'all, the source of these three phenomena is the origin of the Western civilization itself. This is not the West. And you would know that in her time period, she would know that. Alienation in the color confrontation theory, and she pushes black, right? Alienation in the color confrontation theory is stated that racism, this is part of the scientific study, y'all. White supremacy, look, it's stated that racism, white supremacy, having begun as a form of alienation towards the self, now has evolved into the most highly refined form of alienation towards others as well. The color confrontation theory views all of the present battlegrounds in the world today as vivid reflections of this alienation towards others. So they're all a construct based on something else. The destructive and aggressive behavioral patterns displayed throughout the world by white peoples towards all non-white peoples is funny. All the dark people from Africa and other places and Arabs will say got white on their visa, so I don't know what the fuck this is what I'm saying. This was a conditioning purpose, y'all. Is the evidence of the inner hate, hostility, and rejection they feel towards themselves. and of the deep self-alienation that has evolved from their genetic inadequacy. I remember stating in the 1800s, their 1800s, 1865, 75, when it was a decision made that those who were still in the House, Congress, this and other, the original melanated people, up until the 1940s, before the end of all the bullshit that you are now learning about, when these pale skins took over, these people betrayed our people and they were called white. Everybody was. It was a status of purity, had nothing to do with crayon colors or fiction. Though it was brought here and utilized in the 1700s, it is basis because they're always changing the narrative. My extended definition of alienation centers around the recognition that it is a fundamental behavioral dynamic in Western civilization and culture. This is not the West, people. They use old spaghetti westerns and all those to make this the West. Alienation is a powerful centrifugal, genetic, psychological, and social dynamic that over time, listen, centrifugal, genetic, psychological, and societal dynamic that over time drives human beings further and further away from all effective, meaningful, emotionally supportive, and truthful communications amongst one another. At the end of the destruction of Tartaria, hence post-mud flood, this is where we're at the dynamic of today. That's why I say racists are the dumbest fucks. Alphabet people are fucking the worst pieces of shit walking the earth. And this is what it is. And it's a decision. Everybody has a decision. There's enough people who have left whistleblowers who are telling the story and nobody really pays attention because, you know, we are the kind of people that sit with our hands out instead of doing the fucking research and pulling these individuals up and seeing what they do. And even though some of them can be very deceptive, chew the fruit, spit out the seeds. The alienation dynamic, I mean, you used to see all them little fucking in living color words, Mr. Wine himself. Further away from all effective, meaningful, emotionally supportive, and truthful communications amongst another, yet we say the behavioral dynamic of Western civilization and cultural alienation and a powerful centrifugal, genetic, psychological, and societal dynamic. A bunch of shit. Anyway, the alienation dynamic increasingly forces people away from one another as Western civilization and culture evolves. This is all experiment. How they can push, divide, separate. It's called conquer. And how do you conquer a people? Well, start on the outside and you work your way in. And on the inside, you just let them all kill each other. As seen, well, it hasn't been working out too well, so they had to go through other measures. As seen through each successive generations since its origin, including Greek civilization and the Roman Empire. Alienation is the very same dynamic that pushes human beings away from respectful and harmonious relationships with the physical environment, leading to the pollution and destruction of the planet. Yeah, planet destruction, right? The earth we live on, possibly, if we deem so. Most important, the alienation dynamic forces the individual away from all manifestations of self-understanding and self-respect, including the most fundamental respect for one's genetic makeup. And do y'all get what the COINTELPRO was? It was to not allow shit like this to happen. So how did this come to be? Oh, sisters, I'm not hitting on y'all. I'm just saying y'all have been some of the biggest betraying motherfuckers on the earth. All my melanated sisters, yes. And then them little goofy, wayward, didn't have anything, want to have everything, niggas. Okay. Including Greek civilization and Roman Empire. Alienation is the very same dynamic that pushes human beings away from respectful and harmonious relationships with the physical environment, leading to the pollution and destruction of the planet. Most important, the alienation dynamic forces the individual away from all manifestations of self-understanding and self-respect. Again, I must reiterate this, including the most fundamental respects for one's genetic makeup. The Encyclopedia Britannica records that the roots of the idea of alienation are found in the works of Plotinus, I don't want to say his name right, a Roman philosopher born in Egypt, who lived between 2005 and 270 AD, as well as the theology of both St. Augustine and Martin Luther. The latter addressed the struggle to alienate oneself from one's town imperfections by identification with a transcendental perfect being. And when I'm talking about Plotinus and the Roman emperor in Egypt and all that's pure bullshit. Know this. It is. It's not how it is, or nor how it was. Entries on alienation did not appear in major references books of the social scientists until 1935. Why? Well, what was the Reconstruction era period? What were they to implement, and what was to come of it in the 60s? But the concept of alienation was present in classical sociological texts of the 19th and early 20th centuries in the works of Marx, Karl Marx, Durkheim, Germany, and Tornius, Weber, and Simmel, Eric and Mary Josephson, and their Man Alone. Alienation in modern society had the following to say about alienation. Remember, Karl Marx's wife is what pushed him, and his cousin is the one who ran with it. Indeed, ever since the great technological and political revolutions of the late 18th century, with their shattering impact on a rigid social order and their promise of individual freedom, one of the most disturbing phenomena of Western culture has been man's sense of estrangement. I'm just kidding. Estrangement from the world he himself has made or inherited. Man's sense of estrangement from the world he himself has made or inherited. In a world, man's alienation from himself and from others. This theme of the alienation of modern man runs through, when I say human, runs through the literature and drama of two continents. It can be traced in the content as well as the form of modern art. It preoccupies theologians and philosophers, as to many psychologists and sociologists. It is the central problem of our time. In various ways, they tell us that lies have snapped that formerly bound Western man to himself and to the world about him. In diverse language, they say that man in modern industrial societies is rapidly becoming detached from nature, from his old gods. Listen again. In diverse language, they say that diverse language, we're talking about this science bullshit. We're talking about these words, these spells, the fact that most people didn't talk back then. Signs. The earth spoke for us. We knew, compared to today when we don't know shit. Otherwise, these goofy trolls wouldn't even be in the jobs they're doing. Say that man in modern industrial societies is rapidly becoming detached from nature, from his old gods, that means self, from the technology that has transformed his environment and now threatens to destroy it, from his work and his products, and from his leisure. And we know that was all stolen and paid with nothing. The complex social institutions that presumably serve but are more likely to manipulate him from the community in which he lives, and above all from himself, from his body and his sex, from his feelings of love and tenderness, and from his art, his creative and productive potential. I'm talking about the Negro, people. Nobody the fuck else. Let's get some Enoch. The Book of the Curses of the Heavenly Luminaries, chapter 72. The Book of the Curses of the Luminaries of the Heaven, the relation of each, according to the class, the dominion, and the reasons, or seasons. Let me do this again. The Book of the Courses of the Luminaries of the Heaven, the relations of each, according to their classes, their dominion, and their seasons, according to their names and places of origin, and according to their months, which Uriel, the holy angel, who was with me, who is their guide, showed me. And he showed me all their laws exactly as they are, and how it is with regard to all the years of the world, and until eternity, till the new creation is accomplished, which dureth till eternity. What creation? Are they alluding to something else in here? Have they changed the script? And this is the first law of the luminaries. The luminary, the sun, has its rising in the eastern portals. And I told you the sun is alive, but nobody wants to believe that. Eastern portals of the heaven, and is setting in the western portals of the heaven. And I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun sets. And the moon rises and sets in these portals. And the leaders of the stars and those whom they lead, 6 in the east and 6 in the west, and all following each other in accurately corresponding order. Also many windows to the right and left of these portals. Now listen again, y'all. And this is the first law of the luminaries, plural. The luminary, the sun, has its rising in the eastern portals of the heaven, singular, and its setting in the western portals of the heaven, plural to singular. And I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun sets, and the moon rises and sets in these portals as well. And the leaders of the stars and those whom they lead, 6 in the east and 6 in the west, and following each other in accurately corresponding order. Don't say no north or south here, people. Also many windows to the right and left of these portals. This doesn't sound like a spinning ball to me, guys. And first, there goes forth the great luminary, named the sun, she is. And they wanted to add this because we know better. And his circumference is like the circumference of the heaven. That is to brainwash you away from the truth. The sun is not gender neutral, but the female. But in order to push their fake son of God and Jesus shit and remove you from the truth of who you are and the God that you are, based on the Christ factors, which we're reading, and we'll get back to in Flatlandis, this is what the changes they make. Compass of the heaven, and he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. No order here, huh? But we're talking about order. Pay attention to how they perverted so much, people. The chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and is so guided that he comes to the appropriate, in parentheses, lit, that portal, and shines in the face of the heaven. In this way, I'm going to say she rises and correct the fallacy. She rises in the first month in the great portal, which is the fourth, those 6 portals in the cast. And in that 4th portal from which the sun rises, which she, in the first month are 12 window openings. Seasons we believe? No, we know it's 13, from which proceed a flame when they are open in their season. When the sun rises in the heaven, she comes forth through that 4th portal 30 mornings in succession, and sets accurately in the 4th portal in the west of the heaven, attempting to make 4 seasons based upon 3 months. When the sun rises in the heaven, she comes forth through that 4th portal 30 mornings in a succession, and sets accurately in the 4th portal in the west of the heaven. And during this period, the day becomes daily longer, and the night nightly shorter to the 13th morning. 13th month. On that day, the day is longer than the night by a 9th part. Break that down. And the day amounts exactly to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. And the sun rises from that 4th portal and sets in the 4th and returns to the 5th portal of the east 30 mornings. We know it's to be 28. And rises from it and sets in the 5th portal. And then the day becomes longer by 2 parts and amounts to 11 parts. And the night becomes shorter and amounts to 7 parts. How many hours are in a day during the winter solstice and the summer? And it returns at night as well. And it returns to the east and enters into the 6th portal and rises and sets in the 6th portal 1 in 30 mornings on account of its sign. Now here they start bringing in this felonious, what are you? I'm supposed to be Gemini. Bullshit. Anyway, on that day, the day becomes longer than the night, and the day becomes double the night. And we're talking about the seasonal exchange, which they have us believing as far as what's fall, autumn, summer, spring, all that other bullshit. And the day becomes double the night, and the day becomes 12 parts, and the night is shortened and becomes 6 parts. Days are longer, nights are shorter. And the sun mounts up to make the day shorter and the night longer. And the sun returns to the east and enters into the 6th portal and rises from it and sets 30 mornings. All it is talking about is this course change in those different portals. You know what I'm saying? So as it's going around, right, it's changing. It's changing. It's getting farther away from over here. The nights are longer and the days are shorter. And over here, the days are longer and the nights are shorter. And then it comes around. So you have this, like you're saying, three. We're talking about four walls, right? And we're saying 4 seasons when we know there's 5 based on centric and the centermost, where there's full day and full night, depending on what part is it's doing its luminary travel. Okay, and they're counted by days, which they've over-exaggerated because they've changed the dates and times. All right, let's get on. And the sun mounts up to make the day shorter and the night longer, and the sun returns to the east, that side. And this stuff is not complicated, people. And the sun mounts up to make the day shorter and the night. And the sun returns to the east and enters into the 6th portal and rises from it and sets 30 mornings. Do the math. 30 mornings. And when 30 mornings are accomplished, the day decreases by exactly 1 part. And so if there's 24 hours in a day, there's 6 hours of 1 part, of 4th, right? And when 30 mornings are accomplished, the day decreases exactly 1 part and becomes 11 parts, and the night 7. And the sun goes forth from it, and that's off, right? Odd. Right. That 6th portal in the west and goes to the east and rises in the 5th portal for 30 mornings and sets in the west again in the 5th western portal. On that day, the day decreases by 2 parts. You hear nothing about around some spherical goddamn earth. We're talking about a plateau. It's giving you the circumference and the directional change and moves. On that day, the day decreases by 2 parts and amounts to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. Season. We're talking that what they've created anyway. And the sun goes forth from the 5th portal and sets in the 5th portal of the west and rises in the 4th portal for 1:30. We get the leap year and all that other bullshit lying ass Vatican created morning on account of its sign and sets in the west. On that day, the day is equalized with the night. So again, we're talking about the west here. Luminary. We're talking about that day. The day is equalized with the night. And becomes of equal length. And the night amounts to 9 parts and the day to 9 parts. And has any of y'all ever paid attention to that? The long days and the long nights, when it's really not long at all, it's exactly equal as far as when you go to bed, the time when you see the sun set and the sunrise and the moon set and the moon rise. Okay, good. And on that day, the night becomes long. Okay, and the sun rises from the portal and sets in the west and returns to the east and rises 30 mornings in the 3rd portal and sets in the west in the 3rd portal. And on that day, the night becomes longer than the day, and night becomes longer than night. And day shorter than day, till the 30th morning, and the night amounts exactly to 10 parts, and the day to 8 parts. And the sun rises from the 3rd portal and sets in the 3rd portal in the west and returns to the east. This isn't around to nothing. This is strategic. And for 30 mornings rises in the 2nd portal, 28, portal in the east, and in like manner sets in the 2nd portal in the west of the heaven. In the heaven. And on that day, the night amounts to 11 parts and the day to 7 parts. And the sun rises on that day from that second portal and sets in the west in the second portal and returns to the east into the first portal. We're cycling all through again. It's cyclic, isn't it? For 1:30 mornings and sets in the first portal in the west of heaven. If we say 30 and 31, then we get to that 28, 29. That's removing everything from 28. 13 months. That is creating the dynamic of their lie. This is the shit they've inserted. Like I said, they take everything and they fuck it up. So you will have no connection to the truth. And on that day, the night becomes longer and amounts to the double of the day. And the night amounts exactly to 12 parts and the day to 6. And the sun has therewith, in parentheses, traversed the divisions of his orbit, her orbit, and turns it again on those divisions of her orbit, and enters the portal 30 mornings and sets also in the west opposite to it. Orbit. They want you to believe because of fake ass Sputnik and bullshit Apollo, it's an orbit. No, it's right above us. Oh, look at all the pilots that are taking pictures showing the clouds behind the sun and the moon of equal size to the sun. Oh fuck, people. So we're gonna well, let's take it down a little further. And the sun has returned and entered the second portal in the east and returns on those her divisions of her orbit for 30 mornings and risings and settings. And on that day, the night decreases in length, and the night amounts to 10 parts, and the day to 8. And on that day, and we go through the whole cycle. When we get on that, we get all the way to the end, the length, because we go through the whole cycle, all right? And the shortness of the day and the night arise through the course of the sun. These distinctions are made, parentheses lit. They are separated, parentheses. So it comes that its course becomes daily longer and its course nightly shorter. And this is the law and the course of the sun, and her return as often as she returns 60 times and rises. For example, the great luminary which is named the sun forever and ever, and that which, in parentheses, thus, parentheses, rises is the great luminary, and is so named according to its appearance, according as the light of the creator or creators commanded. It's an order to it. All right? And then it goes on, and we'll pick up that. No, we can finish this right here. As she rises, so she sets, and decreases not, and rests not. She's the same forevermore, but runs day and night, and her light is sevenfold brighter than that of the moon. But as regards size, they are both equal. Decreases not. As she rises, so she sets, and decreases not, and rests not, but runs day and night, and her light is sevenfold brighter than that of the moon. But as regards to size, they are both equal. Oh, I just love doing this. You know, if you take something and you put a little lies and misdirect and misguide, all these fake Masonic motherfuckers do it. That's what they've been doing. Yeah, motherfuckers you grew up with, some of you might have been part of that shit. And you talk about secrets. How the fuck can you have a secret on the world that is so fucked up, divided, and controversial because of a fucking bunch of idiots who took over and can't even run the world right? So they want to perverse and destroy because that's all they fucking know. You get the understanding of warlike now, and then the motherfuckers they've groomed and nurtured, and which is raised in their fuckery. Are you starting to catch on, people? So it's not about it. We know that everything is fucked up, but it's within you to know to do the difference. Stop believing in millions and thousands, millions and millions of fucking years bullshit. Excuse me. One of the earliest sets of Christianity, known as the Essenes, I'm going to start from there again, taught a system Excuse me. Ooh, jeez. No, we're going to go right to the bottom. In ancient Vedic temple architecture, a sacred post was always placed between the sanctum sanctorum, your scrotum, the taint, no, I'm just kidding, and the main altar made of a special type of wood, covered with brass and having 33 rings around it. These represented the upright human spine and its 33 vertebrae, as the Rig Veda calls the 33 divinities. In Zoroastrianism, I can't even say the word right now, excuse me. Ahura Mazda created the universe with the power of Yashanze using 33 steps. In Buddhism, according to the Lotus Sutra Canon, Bodhisattva, what is it? Bodhisattva, some shit like that, if I remember right. It's not even pronounced, it's not even written right over here. It has 33 transformations in order to perform his task of salvation. In Islam, 33 angels carry the praise of man to heaven, and of the 99 beautiful names of Allah, number 33 is Al-Azim, the supreme glory, the most grand. Ayacucho Humanga, the religious capital of Peru in the heart of the Andes, is known as the city of the 33 churches. During the Ming Dynasty in 1413, Emperor Zhu Ji had 33 towers temples built on the Chinese holy mountain Wudang. Ah, my Wudang Kung Fu is better than you. And the Basilica of St. Peter in Rome has exactly 33 chapels. The Vatican has 32 archways on each side of the courtyard with a giant obelisk in the middle, and the Pope's cassock has 32 buttons, which with his head representing the 33rd. This is why the United Nations symbol is divided into 33 sections, why their General Assembly room has exactly 33 lights, and why on 3303 the United Nations World Prayer Center called for everyone on earth to pray simultaneously for their God, their false God. If you knew, you knew better. If you know better, you do better. Simultaneously at 3:30 p.m. It is even why in the system of Fahrenheit measurement, 33 is the first degree of temperature in which solid ice melts and liquid water is able to flow freely, like the 33rd degree Freemasons. Kundalini is represented by the serpent, an animal without legs, condemned to a life of slithering. With its belly on the ground, an illuminated crown chakra, on the other hand, is often represented by a winged orb, as in the Cadices of large bird or a mythical half-bird, half-man able to fly. Both the serpent and bird are found in many mythologies, often depicted fighting one another, symbolizing the internal struggle within man to raise out of our lower nature and into higher consciousness. For example, Amazonian tribes speak of a central world tree inhabited by a large harpy eagle who is the enemy of giant serpentine beings. Connected with the underworld. In one story, the human hero takes feathers from the eagle and sticks them on his arms so that he can fly and steal life-saving medicine from the poisonous underworld serpents. Upon his success, the hero himself then transforms into a bird. In the Indian Puranas, there are 14 worlds divided into 7 underworlds and 7 underworlds. The Nagas are intelligent, poisonous, angry, serpentine beings who live in the lowest of the 7 underworlds. So whenever some nigga come talking that Naga shit, I look at him like this. Bitch, all I need to do is see your eye close inwards, and I'm fucking taking anyway. Their swarm enemies is Garuda, a golden-bodied half-bird, half-man hero who lives atop a gigantic ceiba tree in the overworld. Overstand? Similar to the Amazonian hero, in one story, Garuda steals the nectar of immortality from the Nagas, later destroying and eating them all. In Mongolian legend, the evil underworld snake Lossi attempted to squirt poison from his fangs to end all life on Earth. And the human hero Shivani tried to kill Lossi and failed. Lossi, I forgot how to pronounce that right, and failed, excuse me for chopping the word up, but then ascended Suma Mountain, where he transformed into the birdman Garid, and he was then able to catch Lossi, wrap him in 3 times, wrap him 3 times around the mountain, crush his head, and kill him. This is all about the true chi and the magnetic mountain and true North Pole, so-called North Pole, northernest point. In the North Eddas, the Midgard serpent lies in the midst of the ocean, encompassing all the land and bites upon his own tail, while the gold-feathered bird Vidofnir sits perched on the topmost bough of the central world Yggdrasil tree. In the legend, the hero Odin sacrifices himself upon the Yggdrasil tree and gains many supernatural powers, including the ability to transform into any animal from lowly slithering snakes to high-flying birds. And Native American totem poles are another example of this ancient spiritual symbolism. My native brothers and sisters, y'all didn't make none of them bitches. Go to the Dutch West Indies. Pay attention to the old original tobacco fucking cigar statues and the totem poles of old, whether it be from Hawaii, all the fuck over. Y'all ain't got shit to do with that. Or another example of these ancient spiritual symbolisms, these tall pillars that depicted characters from their various mythologies stacked vertically upon each other, usually 7 in number, and topped with a winged bird. The Native American, the Aboriginal American, let's get it right, chief's feathered headdress echoes this too by specifically using bird feathers to represent the illuminated crown chakra. Now, the feather, this is where his ignorance comes in. The war bonnet had nothing to do with anything. That was pure bullshit, created by a French photographer. We're going to keep going now. In these ancient cosmological stories, the microcosms, he was only explaining something, remember that. Chew the fruit, spit out the seeds. In these ancient cosmological stories, the microcosms is always merged with the macrocosms, the upper and the lower. The microcosm tree of life at the North Pole center of the world is analog to the microcosmic branching cerebral spinal system at the center of our bodies. The world engirdling, serpent circling the outermost perimeter of the macrocosm is analogous to the coiled kundalini around our lowermost chakra and the microcosm, and the heroic golden bird perched atop the central pillar of the macrocosm. So you have micro and macro, lot and less, okay? Is analogs to the microcosmic illuminated crown chakra of an enlightened human being. And we know what human alludes to, a beast-like creature, half animal and man. So we ourselves are Atlas King of our own microcosmic Atlantis, perched atop the 33rd vertebrae with our 7 daughters dancing around the tree of life and the serpent Ladon lying in wait. This is the microcosmic metaphorical Atlantis within us all. The macrocosmic little Atlantis, however, is our entire flat earth itself, the part that we are created to, the order that established to which we are part of. 8 ether, that means 8 hertz, 8 hertz. There's a balance. These motherfuckers have created an imbalance. We're going to stop there. So you see what I'm doing? So you little fucking goofy ass trolls, what say you? Oh, did they teach you any of that shit? Oh, some of you Masons, what do you know about that? No, the inserts. Can you sit there and say, oh, false? Can you? Or is that I didn't illuminate enough in knowledge, because that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to let people go and study some shit and stay away from caustic bullshit artists. So that way they can see with themselves by looking in the fucking mirror and not out the window. You're not ready for this. You're going to come back over there and comment a couple more times with your little aggressive, little bullshit as if it means something to me. And you're going to come over here and watch when it doesn't mean shit to me. This is how you wake the fucking people up. Not, look, the Mississippi Gazette. Look, it says us as we're the original people. Look, we were all fucking together. A lot of that stuff is bullshit and truthful. We are the original. That's all that matters. And the rest of the world don't have to accept it nor believe it. Fuck them. We don't have to continue to prove that shit. It's like beating a dead horse in the fucking head. It's not going to get up. And if a motherfucker ain't thirsty, you can take him to every hot water spot or you can take them to every hot, good water spot there is. They're not going to fucking drink. Only gluttonous motherfuckers will stay stuck in that conundrum. and the micro of ignorant self instead of rising to the macro of greatness that they are. Thank you for sitting by and watching me and paying attention, and I hope you share this. I hope you make sure the notification button's up, and we're alleging all of this. And we will be coming back later, and we'll get into the 5 rings, and we'll get into... This is one of the most beautiful... I love this fucking story. I done read it all. Yes, y'all. You're going to enjoy this, and you'll see the connection. That's why it's important to remember some things. All right? I had 99 views, and 9 to 10... Yes. So you go ahead and finish reading over in TikTok. So I'll go over there and see if we get any more, because I will not read over there until I get more that they would like to see that. That means most people, if you scroll through on the lives, you see some of the most horrendous stuff. And it's sad state to see these people in. And we know that the government, these fake, I don't want to call them government, these fake individuals and everybody else, they love seeing that. I saw a woman with the stuff all up in the coochie and the butt cheeks hanging out dancing, and that goes against their fucking standards. I've got them screenshot. I can share them here. I've got their standards and everything screenshot. Share them all. And I've read every last one of them. It's all hypocrisy. It's about control. It has nothing to do with order. It has nothing to do with moral subjugation or anything. It's a prelude to their hypocrisy. You don't have to be the hypocrite nor the fool, because a few run around and that's all they know. Hell, the people I met, yeah, it may be an AI. I don't give a fuck. Thinking it's getting smart. Anyway, no, appreciate y'all. Let me stop putting on fucking the character faces. Appreciate y'all coming on. Let me get some shout outs, and I'm gonna get the fuck off over here. Mac Mean, what's going on, baby boy? Yo. Charleston White, tearing their asses up, family. Great Wolf, peace. What's going on, Ken Folk? Michelle, respect. Anthony Lowe, peace and grand rising. I appreciate you, family. Rando, yo, you in here real quick. Ray Floyd, hey, what's going on, beloved? Yeah, I had to get a little gangster with the MO, you know what I'm saying? Zaha Lamons Jr., what's happening, family? I appreciate you all so much. Mama Red. That's why they tell us to look at the sun. You'll figure it out. It's the same size, exactly. Never look directly into the sun either, y'all, because you will fit your retinas up. At sunrise and sunset, there's nothing wrong gazing at that illumination. It does a lot of repairing. I don't know how it works. I just know that's when you want to do it. Me, sun's up, I look directly into it because I do something different. That's all. Don't do it. All right? A Cambodian told me stories about the Naga. Appreciate that. I hope you really enjoyed it. Anyway, I appreciate everybody coming in. Ladies, gents, you already know. I'll be back in a little bit. No, I will be this time. I'm not tired. I feel full of energy. Love y'all motherfucking like a crazy. And I know some of y'all hit me up. Look, if you see the comments, you don't like what they're asking, and I'm commenting, you can go ahead and remove it. We're not here to waste times with the little idiots. I've welcomed them in, but they don't want to come in and talk. They don't want to come in here because you know why? They got a yellow streak. They're pussified. Now they worse than that. The daddy was pussified and the daddy was before them. And if they test tube babies, the sperm donors were pussified. So now they're pussified. That's why they move the way they move. Because they're pussies. My eyes are on, but yes, it's not for everybody. No, it's not. Exactly. Well, I appreciate you all. And I'll see y'all here in a little bit. Love y'all.